Hi friends, welcome back to Sarah's Next Chapter. My name is Sarah and in this video we're going to be talking about Aphrodite, Greek goddess of love and beauty, and the three Aphrodite retellings that I have recently read and my potentially unpopular opinions slash controversial thoughts on said books. So as always, grab a tea, coffee, maybe something cold because it's pretty hot over here in Scotland right now, and let's get into it. Few disclaimers right off the bat. I am no Greek mythology expert. These are just what I have learned through reading a lot of Greek mythology and consuming a lot of it. I guess this one goes without saying, but these are just my opinions. If you loved the books that I didn't like or whatever, then that's fine. These are just my opinions. I have my iPad here. I feel like this is becoming a staple in my videos, but I was writing out my thoughts for this video because I really wanted it to be coherent. I didn't want to just go on a ramble. I wanted it to be concise, so I might read a little bit off of here because I feel like I've actually written it quite eloquently and I don't know if I'll be able to remember exactly what I've written off the top of my head, so here we go. I thought we'd start by doing a little introduction to Aphrodite, the goddess, just if you are new to this genre and you don't know too much about her. So, Aphrodite is the Greek goddess of love and beauty. She is also known in Roman mythology as Venus. So there's a really interesting aspect of Aphrodite's origin story, if you will, because as much as she is an Olympian goddess, she is not believed to be the daughter of Zeus, and actually she doesn't seem to have a mother. She's actually born after her father, the Titan Uranus, was castrated by his son Kronos, and this bit gets a little bit graphic. Droplets of his blood and semen fell into the ocean, and from the foamy ocean waves rose Aphrodite in her clamshell. She's got quite a unique and interesting origin story, which I find quite cool, and I actually really like Aphrodite. I find her a very interesting character. Recently, there's definitely been a huge surge of interest in Aphrodite. I don't really know what we can put that down to, but I personally see her as a symbol of a celebration of femininity, self-love, and embracing your flaws and just like learning to love yourself, obviously highlighting your beauty and nurturing your relationships, particularly romantic relationships. In the mythological stories, she is certainly flawed. You know, she does things that I don't necessarily agree with. She makes choices that seem selfish and she can seem a bit calculated, but you know, can't we all? I think this is something that I particularly love about Greek mythology, to be honest, is that the gods are gods, they are divine, but they're not perfect. They are flawed, they get jealous, they get angry, they interfere in each other's business, they interfere in the human world, and so I think in a lot of ways they actually seem very human. But for some reason, people seem to struggle with this when it comes to Aphrodite. And I don't know if it's just because she's the goddess of love and beauty, and therefore maybe certain groups of people think that means that she should behave in a certain type of way. Maybe she should be more demure and more meek, just kind of sit there and look pretty on the sidelines, but she definitely doesn't do that. She does mingle in things that she maybe shouldn't. She does get herself involved. She can be quite bold and yes, selfish and makes rash decisions sometimes. And you know, it's just interesting because I think it seems like we're okay to accept that when it comes to the male gods, like Zeus, for example, god of the sky, god of thunder, can be angry, can rage, can interfere in mortal lives. But it seems we have different standards, as always, when it comes to females and female goddesses. I think the books that I'm going to chat about in this video really demonstrate that conflict that we seem to have with Aphrodite, and I suppose demonstrate how difficult it can be to write about this goddess. I think we'll just get into the books. So I have read 3 Aphrodite retellings in the past couple of months, and I have thoughts. On them. So first off, the first one that I read was at the start of the year, and that was Aphrodite by Phoenicia Rogerson. So I have spoken about this before, and at risk of repeating myself, I just want to say straight off the bat, the writing style of Phoenicia Rogerson is not for me. I've also read Herc, which is by the same author, And yeah, I read Aphrodite at the start of this year, and the writing style is just not for me, so I probably won't be picking up another Phoenicia Rogerson book. But having said that, if you like writing that feels more like diary entries and it feels more informal and conversational, you might really, really like this. I do think she made Aphrodite fairly relatable and like modern and funny. So if that's your vibe, then yeah, I think this could be for you. I felt at some points in this book it did make her seem a bit childish, and the writing style is very modern and is very informal, and I think when I'm reading Greek mythology that's just not what I'm looking for. I feel like for this book it was more of an issue that I had with the writing style than the characterization. I did have a bit of an issue with the characterization, but it was the writing style that really put me off, and I kind of couldn't see past that. But I think if you're okay with that type of writing, then you might genuinely like this one. The second Aphrodite book that I read was actually an Aphrodite and Ares sort of romance book, and that is This Immortal Heart by Jennifer Saint. Now, this was a huge disappointment for me. I'm so gutted that I didn't love this book because I was so excited to read it. I've read everything Jennifer Saint's put out thus far and really liked every other book, but this one did not do it for me. I think Jennifer Saint attempted kind of what I'd mentioned, or I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I think she attempted to sort of like smooth out Aphrodite's rough edges and make her just this kind of good character that we really liked. And in doing so, it just made her unbearably bland and boring. And I think, you know, the thing about Aphrodite is she can be unlikable. I think that's okay. It's like, we need to get rid... Oh, sorry, I actually have this book here and I'm not even holding it up. This is the book. I got so caught up I forgot to even show you it. This is the book. It's an absolutely stunning book. That is one thing I will say. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, which makes it all the more disappointing that I didn't like it. I actually didn't finish it. I DNF'd it about halfway through. I think it was 54% through to be exact. And I just thought, I actually can't do this anymore. I am so bored. And yeah, so I guess I can't really recommend or not recommend it because I didn't finish it. But I'll just leave it at that. I didn't finish it, so I think that speaks volumes. This was a love story between Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and Ares, the god of war. So this should have been exciting, this should have been thrilling, this should have been a bit spicy. And it just wasn't. I feel like she rounded out Aphrodite's rough edges and she rounded out Ares' rough edges, and then just had these two kind of like boring characters falling in love. No, we don't want that. We want them to be flawed. We want them, like, Ares to be like aggressive and be, and there'll be terms for this in the romantasy community. I don't read a lot of romantasy, but I do know this type of trope where the woman is like this very soft, feminine little princess, and the man is this like brute, you know, this big, strong, aggressive, moody kind of man, like a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing, right? And then they come together and like he's sort of softened by her. Maybe she's a bit like more aggressive in result of like being with him. I don't know, but it just didn't give me any of that. And there was like no spice. Like I feel like the spicy scenes in this were like getting there, and then it was almost like they panned away or it cut to the next, like after the act or whatever, right? Again, I'm not a big romance reader. I don't read a lot of spicy books, but if you're going to write a romance, you've got to give me something. I'm expecting something. And I just didn't, unless there's loads of that in the other half of the book, and there might be, but there certainly wasn't in the first half. And I was just a bit like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm bored. So yeah, I DNF'd it, which is sad because I was so excited. What I will say is reading the reviews for this book, I do seem to be in the minority. People seem to be loving this book. I don't know if it's because it's only just recently out and maybe a lot of these readers are ARC reviewers, you know, they've been gifted copies of this book. I don't know. But I certainly did not share in the enjoyment of this book. And I don't know, I saw like one review that I was like, oh, that's how I felt. Maybe more of those reviews will come later. But I do also think there's a lot of people that are just getting into Jennifer Saint because this book is like a romance, whereas her other books are not. They might have romantic elements, but they're not romance books. So perhaps readers that typically read, you know, romantasy are finding this book and they're really enjoying it. But I don't know, it was a different avenue for Jennifer Saint. I think I was excited for it, but ultimately I don't think it's where her strength lies. And I hope this is an anomaly. I hope that I really love the next book she puts out. Didn't love this one, didn't think it did Aphrodite justice. And finally, the third book, and the one that I actually liked, is Aphrodite in Pieces by Lauren J. Hebert. This is the only book out of the three of these books that I actually think did Aphrodite justice. I actually thought this book gave her a voice and made her feel very fleshed out and real and raw and a bit gritty, and I really liked this book. I devoured it. I think I read it in like 3 days, and I was working in those days, but I just like couldn't put it down. I just couldn't get enough of this book. It's told in a very interesting way. It's got a very interesting like setup. So Aphrodite appears to this mortal artist and tells her his life story as he makes sketches for the artwork, which will eventually become the famous Venus de Milo. I'll put a picture up of it, but Venus de Milo is a very, very famous artwork, very, very famous statue, and it depicts Venus / Aphrodite, and her arms are actually cut off. We don't know what's happened to them. I just thought, great premise, something different, I'm in, let's go. I feel like this book didn't shy away from Aphrodite's flaws. I feel like actually the main thread of the story was Aphrodite sort of coming to terms with her flaws and learning to accept herself fully, warts and all. That was quite refreshing. It really gave us the good, the bad and the ugly, and I came out of this book feeling like I understood her character a bit more, and I thought it did the love story between Aphrodite and Ares really well. I wouldn't say that was the main focus of this book, but it was a big part of it, and I think it did it justice. It gave me the like passion that I was looking for. My unfortunately very big grievance with this book was the last chapter. See, if you're going to read this book, just don't read the last chapter. Just skip it. You don't need to read it. It basically brings the gods, and this isn't giving anything away, because honestly, this last chapter has no place in this book. It basically brings the gods into this modern setting in a really bizarre, like, where are they now segment, which feels totally unnecessary and so cheesy. And I was just like, my face was like this the whole time I was reading it. Like, what are we doing? I just hated it. I really passionately hated this last chapter. So I'm trying to do you a favour here. I would highly recommend picking up this book. Please pick up this book. Please read it. But see, when you know you're getting to the last chapter, just skip it. You don't need it. Or maybe you'll love it. But for me, it was like, could the editors not have been like, do you really want this last chapter? Do I just leave it? Like, but maybe people loved it, I don't know. But anyway, apart from that, a really great book. I would really recommend you read it. So this is the second book I've read from this author. I also read Mother of Rome last year, I think. Absolutely loved that. I think she's got another book. I want to say it's called Medusa's Sisters. I'll definitely be checking out whatever else she's written and whatever else she brings out, because I do really like her writing style. I would recommend this one. 1 out of the 3 I would actually recommend. So, all that being said, I would love to know your thoughts on this. If you've read any of these books, or if you're interested in reading them after hearing me talk about them, please do let me know in the comments. I'm also, on a completely different note, going to be doing the Summer Ween reading challenge hosted by Gabby Reads, and I'm going to be posting about it on my Instagram page, which is Sarah's Next Chapter. I will also be filming a video probably well, yeah, it'll have to be next week because that will be Summer Ween, won't it? I think it's running from the 3rd to the 9th of July. So I will be posting a video about what I'm reading for Summer Ween, and I'd love to maybe do a buddy read if anyone is interested in that, or if you're doing the challenge, let me know what you're reading. I think that's everything that I had to say in this video. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're enjoying this video, I'd love to have you here on the channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!